very sad. So I wonder if that means it's going to come out on the same vid. Let's see here. Where are we live, Jordan or Nate or Nathan? Sorry.
Yeah, you're live. You're live.
What on what stream?
It's Jordan for sure.
I'm gonna drop the link, the new link in the
yes.
chat.
Do that, and then so we'll give everybody a second. Thank you for the technical difficulties. Thank you for your patience during these horrendous technical difficulties. You get what you pay for. You know, Jordan Klein is the best producer in the game named Jordan Klein. He's also the worst producer in the game named Jordan Klein. Hey now, do you know if you go to IMDb, there are actually several producers named Jordan Klein. It's kind of weird.
I would imagine it's a fairly common name. I know Klein is a common name for sure.
Let's see here if we might be live somewhere, but it's not on the link Jordan's putting in chat. That should get him running. There we go. All right. I found the link. And I'm going to put it in. All right, so we left off talking about Deebo Samuel and his contract. And we're going to talk about all of that again real quickly. So basically what we were breaking down is Purdy dealing with a sore right shoulder. We have every single one of the skill position players has been injured at some point or another for San Francisco. They are without Trent Williams. These are all things working against them. It's also going to be cold. And they are playing a team in Buffalo, literally in Buffalo, but the franchise Buffalo can clinch the 5th consecutive AFC East title tonight if they win. San Francisco, if they lose, pretty much done with the playoffs. Like we're looking at the longest of long shots, even for the wild card, especially with Seattle winning today against the Jets. That makes the NFC West an even tougher climb right now for San Francisco. So we have been expecting to see, a kitchen sink game for the last 3 games here for San Francisco, and we haven't seen it. So we were talking basically to wrap everything up and hand it back over to Matt for his analysis on the San Francisco passing game. The conservative part is it's not because of the snow, but it's because of the weather. San Francisco's probably better off slowing this down. They need to give their defense time between drives because their defense is down to backups at 4 key positions. So this is more of a methodical type approach tonight. That was where I was going with this. But our final point was they may not get that luxury with the way Buffalo can put points on the board. They're the 3rd highest scoring offense in the league. What do you got for the passing game here for those that missed this?
Yeah, so we got cut off at Deebo. The more I think about this game, though, just in that kind of break we had, the more I like San Francisco. They're the team that needs this game a lot more. I think Buffalo's the better team. Obviously, they're healthier. Oftentimes in the end, that will play out, and Buffalo will just win this game because they're the better team. But, I mean, coming into the year, San Francisco was, right up there. Probably most people thought better than Buffalo. I know they've had injuries, but they need this game. Buffalo's sitting a little bit fat and happy. They beat Kansas City, and then they had their bye week, if I'm correct.
You're correct. Yep.
So, yeah, how could they not be feeling good about themselves here? I'm not going to be surprised if San Francisco comes in and wins this game, at all. So, just wanted to put that out in the ether. As far as the passing game goes, I do think that McCaffrey is my favorite piece from San Francisco, just all around, because while I don't think the weather is going to get crazy, dump downs are going to be for sure the preferred method of moving the ball if they're able to do that. So McCaffrey, I love. I think your point about Jennings is very well taken. I'm over the field on him, flex and captain. So I like that shout out. I'm a little bit under on Kittle, which I don't hate. We went back and forth on that, but I do think they're going to just need to, and they have been using him more for blocking because Trent Williams is hurt. So Jennings and McCaffrey, my 2 favorite pieces from the passing game. I don't know what to make of Deebo right now. I'm lower on him than the field is. I feel like any one of these games he could bust out because it's Deebo, but man, he looks He doesn't look like the Debo of old. So again, I think he's a true wild card on this slate. He's probably the biggest X factor, I would say.
I think that's a good call out. There still are a couple EMac team free monies, and then I'll just leave the last 3 in there for you guys to grab. $1 head to heads in the BK lobby. Giving back to the community. I've got like a 20% win rate this season. I couldn't be more generous. The interesting thing about Debo, I saw somebody was saying, well, he shouldn't have changed his number. It was bad luck. He was number 1 in his number was 1 in college, and then I think. Wasn't he in South Carolina? And then when he came to the pros, that was back before they changed the numbers on the jersey. So wide receivers couldn't wear single digits. And then even when that happened, there was another player. I can't think of who it was, but there was another player that already had it. So when NFL players change their numbers, they have to basically buy out the stock of the jerseys if they change that year, or they can wait 1 full year to change. They can petition to change it, and they can't. So that's what he did. So this one was in the works. It's not like a jinxing thing. And he's going back to a number. I don't even know why he picked 19 other than red 19 for the roulette table. And he came into the league, I think, in 2019, right? Or was he the 19th draft pick or something like that? There was something along those lines. In any event, I thought that was not a good take. And we'd love to find the narratives here. But we've got 26 minutes to go, so let's talk a little bit more here. Shaky kicking game. I'm a little bit nervous about the 49ers kicker. 1, because this is outdoors. 2, there's wind. 3, it's very, very cold. And he has had his own injuries because, again, everybody's been hurt for the 49ers at some point this year, but he has also been in a little bit of a funk. So I'm not as excited about him. I'm okay with Bass, who's on the other side. What is this? Is like his 5th year kicking in Buffalo, so he is more used to the cold, inclement weather, the harder ball, etc. All those things that go along with the kicking game. Like you, I don't think the weather's going to play a massive thing, but field goals inside of 40 yards are probably okay. Long ones could be a little bit tough, especially depending on where the wind is coming from. But they said it's more of a swirling wind at this point, coming in from west to south, southwest, to north, northwest. So it's kind of coming in off the lakefront there. So in any event, that's going to kind of wrap up the 49ers. The last thing I'll leave you with is the volume should again be there for McCaffrey, but at some point, isn't it kind of negligent to not have one of the backups start to get some work? I mean, Jordan Mason getting some carries. Grando fumbled his lone kick return in the last game, so he could be in the doghouse, but doesn't it seem like maybe getting some fresher legs between the 20s might not be a bad way to go tonight? Do you think we see any of that? Because that's the key piece of value for the 49ers that we might get. Otherwise, all the value is on the Baltimore side, or pardon me, Buffalo side.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I don't hate it because, like you said, picking value pieces from San Francisco seems like a fool's errand right now. So trying to get in the weeds for something makes some sense. I don't know, though. I feel like like you talked about earlier, they need this game. Like McCaffrey hasn't played a ton this year. He's got fresh legs. As long as he's healthy and ready to go, I think he's going to play as much as he can. So I'm not really seeing the backup running backs for San Francisco at all. In my top 300 lineups, I'm trying to see if I'm getting any Mason. I mean, how expensive is Mason? I'm not getting any Mason.
I don't have the pricing up.
He's probably not priced like a true backup. I'm sure he's more.
I want to say it's like 52 or 56.
Way too expensive for that. Yeah.
I clicked out of the wrong button. I was trying. For those of you still playing basketball, Kyrie Irving is not playing tonight. I was trying to fix that. Turning our attention over to the Buffalo side here, they have some interesting.
Mason's only 2,400. So
is he only 2,400? Okay.
Well, the thing is, he's just not really playing much now that McCaffrey.
No, they have like. Since McCaffrey returned, I'm going from memory because I wrote it in the article. I think since McCaffrey returned, the backup running backs have like a grand total of 23 snaps in the 3 games since McCaffrey's been back, and I think they have 7 touches, 6 of them carries. So it's not.
Who would you play?
Since McCaffrey's been back, Mason's been on the field 14 times, and Garendo has played 3, 2, and no snaps. And the no snap game was when he fumbled on the kick return last week.
Who do you like more, Mason at 24 or Juszczyk at 2K?
So that is a great question. And let's see, where did they end up in my rankings? I put Mason 2 steps higher. And my comment was, if DFS gamers were calling the shots, he would be getting more work to preserve McCaffrey between the 20s. And then I mapped Kyle Juszczyk and Isaac Guerrero at the same spot. And I said, Juszczyk should at least get a couple of opportunities. Guerrero may still be in the doghouse after fumbling on his only kick return attempt last week. And I put him, 2 spots down. So between them, it's Mac Hollins and Keon Coleman who's out. So essentially, they're all kind of grouped together. I'd go a little bit closer to Mason, only because we've seen him get the carries.
Yeah.
When you look at Juszczyk blocking, he'll get a touch or two, but I think 6 touches is more close for Mason. All of them probably carries, whereas Juszczyk is probably, we projected 2.2 total touches.
Yeah, it's just that Juszczyk's actually on the field, whereas
in key situations as a blocker, bringing us back full circle to what are they doing? How are they going to turtle up? Because no Ayuk, really down to 2 receivers. They need Kittle to block. They can put Juszczyk in there to block. Yeah, you can see like 12 personnel. So, is this live or is this Memorex? It is live. No one's going to get that joke. Maybe you.
No.
So
I'm still racking my brain over you saying that DFS players want Jordan Mason to take reps from Christian McCaffrey. I don't think that's true, except for anyone but you.
To give him a break, and it would be for value. If you knew he was going to get 6 to 8 touches in like an actual RB2 type situation.
Yeah, that's fair. Totally fair. On this particular slate, then I think that he would play. I mean, as of right now, I think him versus Juszczyk is really close. Again, it's a guy that's going to play a lot, not touch the ball, versus a guy that might not play, but when he's on the field, much more likely to touch the ball. So for me, I feel like Juszczyk is more likely to get you 3 fantasy points here, just because he's going to be on the field. But Mason is more likely to score you 15 or more, if something happens to McCaffrey, if Buffalo just rolls here, a long run. So that's kind of how I see it, even though I would be shocked if Mason got that much.
Yeah, wasn't it last year? Was it Mason or was it somebody else that McCaffrey had like a long run and then one of the backups came in and got a touchdown, right?
I remember that. Was it Mason? I feel like it's
Mason or it was one of their creative players. I can't remember now.
I'm going to look it up. So,
all right. While you're looking that up, Pierre has a $2 super chat. And this is actually a good question, and I have the answer for him. So, general fantasy football question: Buffalo DST or Denver DST? I actually made a similar decision on Yahoo for the full week contests, for the money contest. I went with Denver. My thinking was, and I think these are both good options, but I can see the 49ers trying to run the ball more and be more conservative. Jameis Winston ain't going to be more conservative. He also takes sacks at a rate pretty close to what Watson did, and it just feels preordained that there's going to be a pick 6, right? Isn't that how it works with Jameis Winston? So I would go with Buffalo, and I wouldn't even think twice about it. But it's a good question. But I hope that's the way you were leaning as well.
I'm going to say this name, and this is the guy I completely forgot about. Forgot he was even
Ray Sermon.
No, this is still their true backup. He's just hurt all year. Do you know who it is?
No, but I'm sure I picked him in best ball in June and July.
Elijah Mitchell.
Oh, Mitchell.
Yes.
Eli Mitchell. Yes.
Yeah,
that's the creative player, right?
Yes.
He's always lurking. He's just never there, except when he is. There we go. Oh, good times. All right. So circling back, using touchdowns to hand over touchdowns here. Josh Allen not rushing for a touchdown every game like he seemed to last year. He had 15 rushing touchdowns last year, 3 more in the playoffs. I believe he has 2 or 3 at this point in the season. Tonight could be a good night for that. So not as worried about that. But this dovetails into James Cook, who has played pretty consistently 55% of the snaps for most of the season. That's kind of where he is. Now, he has the lion's share, or the Buffalo share in this case, of the backfield. And he himself has quite a few touchdowns. So Ty Johnson probably on the field around 30% of the time. Ray Davis going to be on, the rookie Ray Davis, on for about a dozen snaps per game. But this feels like Cook and Allen were the 2 guys I was trying to maneuver into my my builds on my cash game lineup. but Allen was more. This would be a great game for him to, get some more rushing touchdowns. He had one last week that kind of sealed the deal there. I think it was just before the 2-minute warning, where they were already up, but that closed out the win, or I guess before their bye against Kansas City. So I think it was like a 26-yard touchdown. It was like third or fourth down or whatever it was. So in any event, he is someone that I think is pretty good. If we look at the Stokastic projections, we only have Cook for about 15 carries, 70 yards, 50-50 chance he gets in the end zone. Allen is next with about 9 carries, 42 yards. When I took this information down, 30% chance for a score on the ground. He has not been overly voluminous with his scoring through the air, but the Buffalo just keeps winning. Top 3 offense, and he is a top 2 option for the NFL MVP per the odds at this point, pending today's games. So I think Allen is an excellent play. I think Cook is a solid play, but it's hard to put both of them in your lineup because they take up a lot of the salary cap. So what do you? But you kind of are getting every touchdown, I would think, because it's either an Allen pass or one of these guys is running it in. That was my thoughts on trying to build my main lineup around these.
I think you could make a real strong argument that they're the 2 top plays on the slate, depending on what you make of San Francisco here. I like the Niners more in this spot than I think the field does. So, I would throw like McCaffrey, maybe over Cook, but I don't know, man. Like the no Trent Williams really scares me off liking San Francisco, even though I think the spot is just much better for the Niners than it is the Bills. But man, yeah, I mean, I like Allen and Cook a lot. Yeah, certainly I like Allen more because he's just the better fantasy player. He has the ball in his hands every single play. But that said, he's also 1,400 more than Cook. Plenty of scenarios and games and plenty of times where this game plays out and Cook is the guy you need, or they're both the guy you need. I mean, this offense is good, and as you mentioned, their receivers really aren't great. I know they got Amari Cooper. He's solid. Shakir is solid. I don't hate some Mac Hollins. Dawson Knox is fine. But as you said, it's really Allen and Cook. Those are the 2 guys you want. For me, I could see playing, I know it's going to be hard to play them, but we're not necessarily talking about playing Allen or Cook at the captain spot. Trying to fit a bunch of these expensive guys and playing a cheaper captain, because the slate looks very top heavy to me, where Allen, Cook, McCaffrey look like 3 guys that I really, really want to play if I'm playing one lineup.
Yeah, so that ended up being my decision point. I had to give up the dream of getting Cook into my lineup.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm
Allen
Cook out there. I'm with you there.
Yeah, which is that's not where I wanted to go, because I'm ranked as the number 3 guy, ultimately behind McCaffrey. And sort of my question is, we have to keep going back to McCaffrey, don't we? Which is not the analysis you want to write in an article, but that's the looming question. I mean, three games back, doesn't have a touchdown yet. If he had gotten 2 touchdowns, we would not be having this type of conversation, right? We would have glossed over it, and it would have been, oh, well, he had the backup quarterback last week, and look at all the different players that were hurt, and he's coming back from an 8-week layoff, blah, 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 all that stuff. But that's not the case. So now we got to start second guessing things. So, but that is the nature of the game. And on any given Sunday, this sort of stuff can happen. It's kind of like on any given Friday, perhaps a Black Friday, this could happen. We got to see Kansas City and the Raiders play on Black Friday, but that is also the promo code that gets you 50% off any single sport package at Stokastic, either the core package or the max package. The max package has the Sims, but 50% off. You can see that up in the corner here. That goes away at midnight. So use that one quickly. You also get on OddsShopper, you can get 75% off by using the promo code Thanksgiving. We'll get you 75% off there. That also ends at midnight. So my cash game lineup is going to be Khalil Shakir as the captain. That was the best way to make this all work. But I've got Shakir, Allen, McCaffrey, Jennings, Curtis Samuel, and Dawson Knox. Now, the reason we want to talk about Curtis Samuel and Dawson Knox, no Dalton Kincaid. I saw my grandson just tweeted me with a picture of Dawson Knox, or a GIF of Dawson Knox. Hopefully he's in the chat as well. That would be Notorious Fantasy, the Nick Lepre. Not really my grandson, but when we did shows together, that was a fun bit. And now my beard is even more gray and white than it was, so I fit in even better. But we had a lot of fun talking about Dawson Knox when he was going through that great run in around the pandemic, just getting 15 touchdowns in 30 games across 2 seasons, and then Buffalo brought in a lot of other pass catchers, so he kind of fell back by the wayside. But he still has that rapport with Allen. You also saw Curtis Samuel dealing with injuries at the beginning of the season, but he's no stranger to making his way to new teams. He's going to work mostly out of the slot and taking some of those shorter routes that would have been, kind of the Coleman area. So, that allows the Shakir to go outside a little bit as well. But a lot of short passes between those guys is what I'm getting at. I think he had 8 and 6 passes in the targets in the last 2 weeks for Samuel. So those are the guys I really, really like. On this, do you want to go? I mean, that's my opinion, like their 3 best pass catching options is Shakir, Samuel, and Knox. Do you want to add or talk about any others? We've got 12 minutes until lock here.
I mean, you got Coop, so I think you have to throw him in the mix here.
But he's got like 3, 2, and 3 targets or something like that. He's playing like 50-ish% of the snaps.
To that point, injury. You think they brought him in and gave up a 3rd-round pick? I think it was a 3rd, maybe it was a 4th.
It was 3rd or 4th. Those guys all went for like 3rd and 4th round picks.
For him to play that much, like coming off their bye, I would expect them to implement him in their offense even more. So again, I think he's probably too pricey for his median projection, but you boost him a little bit and he starts to look a lot better. And talent-wise, like, he's the clear most talented wide receiver in this offense. Like,
he's not a Deontay Johnson type, or like, why did you guys
right
kind of thing. This is more, he's got the injury, it sort of slowed him down. He's on yet another team in the last 5 years or whatever. Right. It's more one of those. Whereas I fully expect him to be kind of the 1A, 1B with Shakir by the time we get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Tonight, different story. And the salary.
100%. And maybe tonight we start to see that a little bit more. Again, I think he's too expensive, but I also don't think his owner, like, he's going to be 20 to 25% owned. That's pretty low on Showdown slate. So again, I know that's partly because there's a lot of, appealing guys to roster, but at that ownership being, in my opinion, the most talented receiver in that room, I don't think he's a crazy play. But to your point, for me, I think Knox and Samuel, just because of their price points. I like Shakir, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I like him more than Cooper at 800 more, even though I think he's safer. So I'm with you on Knox and Samuel. The price is just right with those guys.
Yeah, and this is a salary cap game, as we like to mention from time to time. So that gets us through the most of the key analysis here. Let me see. We got comments about the defenses and kickers. So in my research set, I said San Francisco is just inside the top third of the league with 16 takeaways. They are 7th with 11 interceptions. Buffalo, however, lost 2 fumbles. That's it for the season, and 5 interceptions. So 49ers are average with their sack rate. The Bills have allowed a league low 13 sacks. So San Francisco defense not looking good. Jake Moody, I mentioned he was injured. He had a high ankle sprain that took him out from weeks 6 through 9. In week 9, that was when he missed the three field goals and got in a little bit of a kerfluffle there. Well, he wasn't. He was the kerfluffle when Debo kind of got a little salty with him. He has just 1 field goal attempt in each of his last 2 games, but he has made those along with all 5 of his extra points. A little nervous about a young kicker being in this tough type of environment. Tyler Bass, this is halfway through his 5th season. It'll be 78th game, so he is definitely a veteran. He has been in Buffalo the whole time. They know his limitations, though. They do not let him kick far, right? They're being smart. Inside of 45, he's really good. They don't really let him kick outside of that. Part of that is because he's in outdoor stadiums for in winter weather for a lot of his stuff. But again, the team is pretty smart about it. But inside 45 yards, he is I don't think I have my notes. I think he's about 89% or 91%. That's pretty good. His misses from 50 and beyond taken back down to a still respectable 88%, but not quite the gaudy numbers we've seen from some of the other young kickers. And then the Bills are about 2.5 sacks a game. That's about what the 49ers give up. The Bills are 2 takeaways away from the Houston Texans heading into this week, so they're 3rd overall. And then the Niners, I had thought that Allen was going to play, not Purdy, when I wrote this. So, or when I wrote that section. So we'll see. Purdy can throw a pick, but he's been good. The other comment I wanted to bring up on Purdy, last year, Mr. Efficiency, 7% touchdown rate. This year, I think he's around 3.6 or 4. That's irrelevant for Mr. Irrelevant. Getting all emotional here. 7 minutes to go. Who are you afraid of not having enough against the field?
Man, it's a good question. I think that, I think the answer to that question is probably I'm over the field on all the guys like I feel like I want to be. Let me see who I'm really, really under on. Debo, go back to that X factor I talked about.
All right.
I'm not getting much Debo at all. I'm getting 10%. He's coming in 21%. He's expensive. So Debo would be my answer to that question. How about yourself?
I haven't gotten to who am I. I'm looking at who am I afraid that I'm over. Well, it's certainly not James Cook, because I am over him extensively. I'm also over.
Yeah, the Sims love Cook
in the captain. Yeah, so I'm going under on McCaffrey. That's probably my biggest fear. Somehow McCaffrey has a McCaffrey-esque game. Perhaps tonight with the conditions and weather, that ends up being around 100 yards, but 2 touchdowns. He could would it be a complete shock if he had 8 receptions for 60 yards? No, that's the PPR goodness that could get him there. He's probably my biggest fear in the captain spot that I'm not representing it, but I'm okay with that because, the Sims are tried and true. The Sims got somebody another $1 million earlier this for the holiday week here. So shout out to the Sims. That's 3 millionaire maker winners in the last 4 weeks. Pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about everything I got here. I'm just going to let this ride. Ooh, I wanted to see. Let's make sure I'm under on the 49ers kicker, Jake Moody. Oh, I am. The Sims don't like it much either. 12%. I will take that. I'm going to download my stuff and then upload it. So let me go back over here and see what anybody has talking to us in the chat. We are at 5 minutes to go here. Thank you for sticking with us as we went through some technical difficulties here. It's the holiday weekend, and that's just sort of what happens. But it was a Christmas miracle. Everybody behind the scenes came together, worked as a team, and got us back up and running because there was a power outage. It's a shame when the power goes out. First world problems, but where's my upload page? Let's get that in there. I know this is riveting, and Jordan doesn't have time to put up a poll to say, am I going to get my lineups in? But the answer is yes, I will. Why are we talking about Sam Darnold? McCaffrey is washed. I don't think McCaffrey is washed. I think McCaffrey is coming back from some serious injuries, wear and tear, and just, can only do what he does for so long. Hey, no questions. That's rather different. Let me take a peek over here at Discord because Greg is not here to remind me that I need to look at Discord even when people aren't tagging me. Flim Flam Mam says he has a boatload of bass. Be prepared for disappointment. That's always a possibility. Parker says he 2x'd on the early slate. Now he's just below break even. Needs a nice night tonight. Black Friday users. Black Friday, folks. Get in on this deal. It's going to go away. It is going to go away. Debo is too expensive. Well, we talked about that. Let me go back to my exposures here, and I will tell you where I came in. So I'm 30% Josh Allen. I did not have him in my main lineup as the captain, but he clearly is my captain here at 30%. James Cook at 28. Damn, that's a lot of eggs in those baskets. McCaffrey, so I'm 20% above the field. I'm so 32% combined above the field on those two. That's where the stand is happening for me tonight. Clearly, I'm hoping for some rushing touchdowns, or how about this? 2 touchdown passes to Cook.
Ooh,
That would be spicy.
now you're speaking my love language.
Indeed. Khalil Shakir, I'm about even. Brock Purdy, I'm under. Jawan Jennings, I'm under. Of course, I got to be under on these folks because I'm higher on everybody else. So that's where all the stands are. On the flex side, where did I come in with Dawson Knox? I'm a little above the field, 36% Dawson Knox. We have him at about 30%, so I'm okay with that. Cook, again, I'm massively over. I got him 59%. So I have Cook on almost 80% of my overall lineups tonight. That is well above the field. It has him on about half. Now, we have seen a lot of things change with projections lately because more and more sites are using the sims, which are heavily influencing the expected ROI because they're looking and seeing what everybody else is saying, then they're putting that into their information. So it's a huge feedback loop. So it's, and that's always been the case, but it's different with sims than it was with the optimizers and the projectors because those are less worried about the expected ROI. And what we've learned about the sims and expected ROI is a lot of the tried and true things that we thought were true about don't play more than 2 kickers or defenses and different things like that. And don't put a running quarterback and don't play 3 tight ends and whatever it is. Those aren't necessarily true because of odd outcomes, which is basically the description of darn near any NFL game. Odd outcomes just shake things up. That's what makes everything fun with Showdown. I used to hate Showdown. I love Showdown. I like Showdown way better than main slate football. It's kind of growing on me. Not been my best year this year, but I do thoroughly enjoy it still. There we go. Notorious. My grandson, Nick Lepre. There you go. Dawson Knox, baby. He's in my cash game lineup. Just as soon as I put that in, I saw that and I almost wrote you up in the article too, just to mention our shared love for Dawson Knox. We got him on a few primetime games back in the day when it was me and you and Team McPhee.
Love that.
All right, we're 30 seconds out here, Matt. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be cold. We're going to be toasty warm. I'm looking forward to watching this game. No coffee for me tonight. I got to get up early. Got a bunch of appointments tomorrow, so I'm hoping to make it till halftime, which means I'll probably fall asleep watching it on my phone in bed, much to the chagrin of my wife. But such is life. Such is life. I'll have to use the AirPods so I can hear it. But that is it. Glad you were able to make it back to us here. We missed you, but everybody hit that like button. You guys can follow Matt on Twitter at FantasyTipsMatt. You can find me at EMac DFS, and of course, it is Stokastic_COM. Tune in tomorrow. We're doing this all over again as we launch Week 14 NFL content. With that, gamers, good luck.